I'm a sheriff's deputy in Florida. Ask me anything. Will you ever defeat Florida Man? It's a never-ending battle, friend. How many Florida Man type situations actually happen? News headline worthy? Probably once a week. We always race to get to the fun calls first. Craziest incident? Someone stole one of our vehicles and led everyone on a high-speed chase on the freeway. Where can I get one of those Smokey the Bear hats? Those are our state troopers. You don't want to run into those guys. Why does it seem that the craziest news stories about people doing wild things always come from Florida? It's the hot weather and crack, man. The mixture always leads to some headline-worthy circumstances. Do you feel like law enforcement gets demonized on this site unjustly? Also, I just wanted to say thank you for your service. I'm personally grateful that people like you are out there putting your lives on the line in order to protect us and uphold the law. There are bad apples in every occupation, sure, but for the most part you guys do a wonderful job of keeping everyone safe. I appreciate it. I very much appreciate that. As you can see from some of the other comments in this thread, some people will hate law enforcement no matter what. I joined to help people, as cheesy as it sounds. I find on social media we are hated, but in my day-to-day job people often thank me and are very kind once they realize I'm just human. There are bad people in this profession and it's a shame that they make it in and are able to do the things they do. How well do you know Florida Man? And why is he always up to no good? I know quite a few of them on a first name basis. It's usually the excessive crack usage that leads to Florida Man headlines. You didn't tell us what a deputy basically does. What do they do? So it changes around the US. Places like New York and LA have police departments which are the largest agency of law enforcement. Down here in Florida, police departments are very small and only cover cities. Sheriff's offices are county-wide. So we cover our whole entire county. The police departments only cover the smaller cities. So a deputy is the law enforcement for their specific county. What's proactivity basically? How would community relations help? Proactivity meaning cops are out there in communities. Often when people who are willing to commit crimes see police in action all day, they decide it's best to not commit these crimes. Community relations helps across the board. Getting to know the deputies that work your zones on a personal level is a great idea. Letting the community know to not be afraid of law enforcement and that we are here to help. They go hand in hand really. More police out doing good work, as well as socializing with communities. The bad guys see this and decide to take their crimes elsewhere. Do you really force sex offenders to do the sex offender shuttle? Also, what are the best and worst parts of the job? Best part is walking away from a call knowing you helped someone when they needed it. Whether it be someone in medical distress, scared for their life, or even just simple day-to-day troubles. The worst part is the public portrayal on social media. It really shows one side of our job, and usually the bad apples of this profession. I find that most people love us, and often thank us daily. It's just the media that shows why you should hate law enforcement, when it's really only a few horrible humans that are shown. Most people will stop to have conversations with us. I'm only human after all. I see. Thank you, both for your answer and for your service to the community. What's the sex offender shuffle? When did you feel the most badass? I still get that adrenaline rush when I get to turn on my lights and sirens. I often like going to medical calls. I can usually make it there a minute or two before fire rescue, and I'm able to provide some sort of aid to those in distress. Knowing you helped someone in an urgent time of need is always a great feeling. What are the most effective ways to prevent the most common crimes? Where can we see what are the most common crimes? You know, it really changes in different parts of our county as to what the most common crimes are. Higher income areas usually have burglary of motor vehicles, which they can fix by just locking their car doors. Haha. Lower income areas often have drug problems. I would say police presence, proactivity, and community relations are great ways to stop crime before it happens. But you'd be surprised how many people leave valuables, weapons, etc. in their car and then don't lock the car. It's crazy to me. What's your favorite burger joint? Five Guys for sure, though I usually need a nap afterwards. How many Florida man have you encountered? Too many. My girlfriend works retail, dollar store, and consistently has to deal with meth heads and tweakers. Do you have any advice on how to safely deal with these people from your experience? She gets assaulted, like once a week. Yes. Easiest way for these people to go away, to jail, is to have them trespassed. Have her talk with her manager about setting up a legal document for local police to allow them to instantly trespass people from the property. This works best so that the manager doesn't have to be present every time in order for them to be trespassed. If they return after a trespass has been issued, they go to jail for trespass after warning. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to use your service weapon? Thank you for your service. I have had 2 very close calls, but fortunately I have not had to use my service weapon. What are your thoughts on castle doctrine / stand your ground? I agree with it. I do not think you should have to run away from those threatening your life. Funniest story? Well, last night I took a guy to jail for something. It was a very long story, but on the way to jail he told me he was a time traveler. He explained he was Hitler's assassin, and that the time vortex was off. He advised that I should let him go, or else the skyjackers would come and kill me. I got to hear about his time traveling stories for 35 minutes lol. Do you have to deal with illegal aliens a lot? Not too often actually. I've run into a few, but the real problem in my area is homeless people. Where's the best neighborhood to buy good drugs? There's too many to count. What's your poison? I'll point you in the right direction. I prefer psychedelics, but you usually don't find them in the open air drug markets. Let's go for the gusto. PCP. Lately it's been a lot of Molly TBH, and weed of course, but we are generally not arresting on weed anymore. It's becoming legal. Most of the drugs we get come from larger roadways, especially state roads. Is the flakka thing still a big issue? Not really. Unfortunately we've been having huge issues with fentanyl. It's incredibly strong. All law enforcement are carrying Narcan now, just because of the amount of overdoses. How far over the speed limit does someone have to be for you to pull them over for speeding? Generally 15 over. I'm not one to give a ton of tickets either. As long as you are cordial, you just get a warning. Hey gamers, you made it to the end of the video. Please hit that subscribe button and smash like for more content if you enjoyed. As always, have an epic day.